Hi there, I'm Ron Pereira of Gemba Academy, and I'd like to ask you a question. If someone asked you to explain, and I mean really explain, what this thing called lean manufacturing or the lean office was all about, well, what would you say? Well, by the end of this video, you'll understand and be able to explain exactly what lean is, and you'll have advanced or perhaps even begun your personal continuous improvement journey. Okay, well, before we get started, allow me to explain what it is you're about to learn. Well, by the end of this video, you'll know why lean can and will change the world if applied properly. You'll also know what lean is and isn't, as well as its long history. And finally, you'll be introduced to some of the most popular lean principles, systems, philosophies, and tools used today by business, healthcare, and government organizations all over the world. All right, well, let's begin by discussing why any of us should bother understanding or implementing lean. And to get us started, let's begin with a quote from Dr. Deming, who once said, "It's not necessary to change. Survival is not mandatory." And while it wouldn't be entirely accurate to say that lean and other continuous improvement methodologies such as Six Sigma will solve all of the world's problems, the recent global economic crisis we find ourselves in has made it crystal clear that organizations must be willing to change and improve if they hope to prosper and in some cases survive. Additionally, world markets are definitely expanding, and the need to compete on a global basis has never been more important. It doesn't matter where in the world you live or work, I promise you, someone is working to do the same job for less money and at better quality. Next, because of the tough economic times we find ourselves in, our customers are demanding better quality, delivery, and lower costs like never before. And finally, the traditional methods of operating our companies simply don't work anymore. The days of holding massive amounts of inventory and taking months to deliver a product a consumer wants in days are long gone. Okay, well, now that we have a better understanding of the need for change, let's learn what lean is and how it can help each and every one of us. Well, first of all, lean is an operational excellence strategy that enables you to change for the better. In fact, the Japanese word kaizen, which is often used by lean practitioners to describe incremental improvements made throughout the lean journey, means to change for the better. And while kaizen can lead to quick improvements, the true spirit of lean is to work with a slow and steady purpose instead of quickly and recklessly. Along these lines, Taiichi Ohno, one of the chief architects of the Toyota production system, once said, "The slower but consistent tortoise causes less waste and is much more desirable than a speedy hare that races ahead and stops occasionally to doze." Mr. Ohno goes on to say that the Toyota production system can be realized only when all of the workers become tortoises. Now, another common definition is that lean is the persistent pursuit and elimination of waste. Well, the Japanese word for waste is muda, which describes any activity that's done but adds no real value to the product or service. Sadly, many companies latch onto the elimination of waste aspect of lean while completely forgetting about arguably the most important aspect of lean, namely respect for people. So, while we must always fight to eliminate waste, we must never lose sight of our most important assets of all, our employees. Finally, lean is not only about attacking waste while increasing the speed at which products are produced. You see, lean is also very focused on improving the quality of our products as well as the stability of our processes. In fact, many lean principles such as one-piece flow will never succeed without stable and high-quality processes in place. All right, well, in order to truly understand what lean's all about, it's important to understand its history. And as we'll soon learn, the terms lean manufacturing or lean enterprise are actually relatively new in the grand scheme of things. In fact, most people assume that so-called lean thinking started in Japan by the founders of Toyota. This is actually false. In fact, in 1574, King Henry III watched the Venice arsenal produce finished galley ships every hour using continuous flow processes. And when we fast forward to the year 1799, we discover Eli Whitney perfecting the concept of interchangeable parts, which was another manufacturing breakthrough. Next, in 1902, a young man by the name of Sakichi Toyoda revolutionized the manufacturing world forever with his invention of the Jidoka concept. Simply put, Mr. Toyoda discovered a way to make his mother's automatic loom stop running when a piece of thread broke instead of continuing to run while creating excess amounts of wasted product. Well, little did he know, but the concept of Jidoka, or automation with a human touch, would later become a pillar of the vaunted Toyota production system. A few years later, a man by the name of Henry Ford was busy building an American empire called the Ford Motor Company, and in 1910, Ford moved operations to Highland Park, often referred to as the birthplace of lean manufacturing, due to the continuous flow of parts throughout the massive plant. A year later, in 1911, Sakichi Toyoda traveled to the United States in order to study Ford's revolutionary way of producing the Model T. It was shortly after this visit that Mr. Toyoda first began to conceptualize what we now call the Toyota production system. Then, in 1938, the just-in-time, or JIT concept was born at Toyota. Well, the basic premise behind JIT is that we only make what we need when we need it, while downstream processes take what they need from upstream processes. Well, when coupled together with the other pillar of TPS, Jidoka, or automation with a human touch, we arrive at what we often refer to as the TPS Stonehenge, which places the concept of thoroughly removing waste while respecting people at the top. Now, 1949 was an extremely important year in the history of TPS, as a young engineer named Teiichi Ono was promoted as shop floor manager at Toyota. Mr. Ono would soon become one of the chief architects of the Toyota production system. In fact, Mr. Ono was the first person to develop the elimination of waste concept, as well as the first to use Kanban to control the amount of work in process produced within the plant. And while Mr. Ono is commonly remembered for the invention of many of the lean tools we use today, it could be argued that his greatest gift to us all was the way he challenged Toyota associates to think and solve problems by asking why again and again. Next, as the Toyota production system matured and Toyota began to excel as a corporation, the rest of the world began to take notice. And in 1975, the Toyota production system was translated into English, enabling, for the first time, non-Japanese speaking individuals the opportunity to learn about this amazing production system. Up to this point, the term lean manufacturing wasn't used to describe the way Toyota worked. Well, this changed in 1990 as a group of American researchers led by Dr. James Womack traveled the world in order to study the various manufacturing methods in use. And what they learned during their travels was that Toyota was by far the most efficient automotive company in the world. And it was at this time that one of Dr. Womack's research assistants actually coined the phrase lean manufacturing. And as it turns out, the term lean, as well as the results of their research, was shared with the world when the book, The Machine That Changed the World, was released. Well, this brings us to the present day. And while lean is definitely being used to eliminate waste and increase profits in manufacturing environments around the world, lean has also spread to many other areas. In fact, you'll find lean being utilized in office environments where things such as reducing the time it takes to process customer orders is very common. Another area lean has really taken off in is in our hospitals, where things like reducing errors and the time it takes to find critical supplies has added tremendous value. Well, the military is also attacking waste and variation with both Lean and Six Sigma. And even parts of the U.S. Postal Service have begun their own lean journey where they've benefited from the use of tools like value stream mapping and error proofing. Alright, well, now that we've covered the history of the Toyota production system and lean manufacturing, it's time to discuss some of the most common tools lean practitioners employ. First, we come to 5S, which is probably the most popular lean tool used today. When translated to English from the Japanese words, 5S stands for sort, straighten, shine, standardize, and sustain. And while 5S has become a housekeeping initiative within many companies, it's far more than this. You see, the true purpose of 5S is to ensure that abnormalities can be identified immediately. Now, after 5S, one of the most powerful lean tools is value stream mapping. Now, it's not uncommon that after value stream mapping an area, most organizations realize they have far more opportunity for improvement than they ever imagined. And it's often said that value stream mapping helps organizations see waste like never before. Another powerful lean concept is cellular manufacturing, where product is passed to the next step in a balanced manner, one piece at a time. The ideal condition for all lean companies is to receive orders at the start of the process and quickly flow the product through all the processing steps with no delay or queue. However, in some cases, pure continuous flow isn't always possible, in which case we must then implement what we call pull. This basically means an individual work area will not start production until a downstream process or customer tells it to. Now, one of the primary means of implementing a downstream pull system is by the use of Kanban. Now, Kanban is a Japanese word that literally means sign. In the context of production control, Kanban refers to the visual production control system that signals replenishment. A Kanban can take many forms. The most common is the Kanban card, but there are many other variations of Kanban. Everything from push carts to golf balls can serve the purpose of a Kanban. When in order for pull and Kanban to function properly, we must first level the production schedule. The Japanese word for this is heijunka. The basic idea of heijunka is that instead of producing in large batches in order to avoid changeovers, we must focus our efforts on reducing the time it takes to do a changeover, allowing us to smooth both the volume and mix of the production schedule. Now, the tool most commonly used to facilitate these lightning quick changeovers is single minute exchange of dies, or SMED. Now, the basic idea of SMED is to do as much of the changeover as we can while the machine is running, so that when the machine does stop producing, we minimize the downtime, much like we see when watching a world-class pit crew in action. Next, whenever a company makes a transition from traditional mass production to one-piece flow, it's absolutely critical that all machines and equipment are up and running in a reliable manner. As such, things like machine breakdowns must be avoided at all costs. In order for this to be the case, lean producers typically have a strong TPM, or Total Productive Maintenance program, in place. Now, these are just a few of the most popular lean tools and concepts used today. But with this said, there are many more lean tools and concepts available to us, such as Andon lamps, low-cost intelligent automation, Poka-yoke, visual control, supplier development, A3 thinking, and the product preparation process. And while we're not able to dive into each of these tools and concepts in this introductory lesson, you can rest assured that we'll take you on a thorough journey into all of these in future Gemba Academy courses. Now then, while these tools and concepts of lean are extremely important, we'd also like to stress that they're not enough. You see, in order to really understand and succeed at lean, we must learn about some of the less discussed philosophies of lean. Now, the first philosophy of lean is Kaizen. Now, some may attempt to label Kaizen as a tool. Some also think of Kaizen as a 4 to 5 day improvement event. And while these so-called Kaizen events are indeed important and powerful, true Kaizen is much more than this. True Kaizen is a way of thinking and working that basically asks the question, how can we improve something today? The Kaizen mindset is one that never settles for good. Instead, it's always focused on finding a better way, even if it's just a little bit better. Next, as we mentioned earlier, lean companies must do their best to work slowly and with a steady purpose instead of quickly and recklessly. Another key philosophy of lean is Genchi Genbutsu, which literally means to go and see what's happening at the place the work is done. In other words, if there's a problem on the production floor, the management team shouldn't attempt to solve it from a conference room or boardroom. Instead, they should go to the Gemba, the place the work is done, to see what the issue is with their own eyes. Finally, the idea of learning from our failures is extremely important. In other words, in order to succeed at lean, or any aspect of continuous improvement for that matter, an organization must be willing to try and fail from time to time, since learning from these failures will be the most powerful teacher of all. Alright, well, this wraps up this introductory lesson. If you'd like to learn more about lean thinking principles, please visit us at GembaAcademy.com, where you'll be able to view free lean training videos after registering for a lean starter account. Until then, on behalf of all of us at Gemba Academy, I'd like to wish you all the best as you progress on this never-ending journey of continuous improvement.